There's nothing better than having friends slide into your DMs and send you encouraging messages right before a race starts. Thanks, Brian.
The obligatory cough before I start talking. All right. Welcome. For those new to my channel, welcome. For those returning, welcome back. Appreciate your viewership and your encouragement, because this is one of the harder stages. I saw my boy Darren break apart on this climb, and he is a fantastic climber. Granted, he's got a little bit of something going on with his health, a little bit sick, so I know that he's not at 100%, but when he falls apart, it makes me nervous because he's a fantastic rider. So this is the Innsbruck KOM after party, which means we are going to loop around the town of Innsbruck, go up the leg snapper and sprint section 3 times. Luckily, leg snapper and the sprint section only your best time counts, like other stages. So I only have to get it right once.
All right, once. Once.
And that's the important part about these looped stages. You only got to get it right once. And so I'm officially in 3rd place. Excited about that. Pick 3rd. Got some points between me and 4th. Felix, great guy, fantastic sprinter. But in order for me to catch up with the 2nd and 1st place, I've got a lot of points to make up. They are absolutely monster sprinters. The 2nd place guy, I believe his name is Harry, got up the leg snapper in 40 seconds. That is absolutely insane. The best I've ever done is just over a minute. And so that is my goal today, is under a minute, which I'm on the DT Swiss disc wheels. I know, crazy for a stage like today, but I need to be able to get to the start of the leg snapper as well as the sprint with as much speed as possible. And the disc wheels, unfortunately, are the best when it comes to aerodynamic advantage leading up to that. So that is the plan for today. Then once we hit the climb, I'm going to do my best to hold about 250 watts for the climb, which I should be able to do. So this is gonna be a fun one, definitely one for the record books. So getting going, getting ready to launch like every other Zwift race.
And so I'm going to leapfrog over to my first and best attempt up the leg snapper, which truly was my maximum effort moment. Which, one thing I will say my Achilles heel when it comes to the leg snapper is knowing where the start line is at.
Oh, you idiot!
To which, once I finally crossed the line, realized I was over it and started to push hard. As soon as I hit that 5%, I launched like a rocket. Albeit a slow one at first in comparison to EBZ from the ATP team, because holy smokes, he took off. There goes Kroll on the ATP team as well. But at 84 kilograms, I'm holding right around 700 watts up this climb and just kind of floundered just under 700 watts all the way up, which I was absolutely excited with my efforts, considering.
Yes! Oh my God!
As you can tell by my Now, skipping ahead to my second attempt on the sprint, you can hear a little chirping in the background. That is my derailleur wheels, jockey wheels. I don't know what's going on with it, but I'm upset at this point, and it's frustrating. But as I approach the sprint, hit 61 kilometers an hour on that downhill, so I was trying to hold onto it, as advised by many of you in the comments. And so I was pushing up the RPMs a little bit, staying in the mid 200s. Again, I'm doing my best not to burn myself out before the sprint even starts because I just don't have the capabilities to do that. So my previous attempt was 1962, which, albeit a good year, was not ideal for the sprint attempt that I wanted. And so as I start coming around the corner, you see my speed drops a significant amount as I go up this little 2% hill. So I start launching before the start of the sprint and give it my absolute all. And just push, 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 push. Watching the guys in front of me, trying to catch them and pass them without letting go of my effort.
Oh my God.
And so as I cross the line, end up doing a little bit better this time. And so you see I crossed at a 1941 versus 1962. Not that big of a difference, but that was really all I was going to be able to push for this round. So fast forward a little bit as we start getting through this flat part, I start to catch up to this rider in front of me, and I see the group coming up behind me. And so I decide to do something that I normally would not do. And so I messaged them, letting them know that I was basically done sprinting, and I saw there was another dirt rider on there, Connolly, which is a great, strong rider. And so I messaged them, let them know that, hey, I'll jump on the front and do, basically do a long pull. I'm done with sprinting for the day. I knew that my numbers weren't going to get any better at this point, and I just hit the gas, stay in the mid 200s ish, trying to hold a good, strong pace, staying, in the 30-ish kilometers an hour on some of those slight uphill slopes, and then hitting into the 40 kilometers an hour on the downhills, just to kind of keep the pace going. And if you look at the list to the right, you'll see that when I initially started this, the group in front of us was actually about 30 seconds ahead. And I ended up closing the gap to about 15, 16 seconds. And that's kind of where I started fading. After a few minutes of this, it just got to the point where I knew I couldn't stay on the front. So I messaged them, letting them know, hey, I'm cooked, and wishing them well on their efforts for the climb. At this point, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to offer any more assistance. So I'm going to go ahead and jump forward to the KOM. And so as I hit the climb, you're not going to hear it, but my gears are still squeaking. And at this point, I'm getting really frustrated because I'm in the 39 tooth ring up front and not really sure, where the noise is coming from. Had to do a quick little stretch there on my glutes, and my hamstrings are super tight at this point. And you can see the group of riders coming up behind me. And Mr. DMC Brian himself is in that group. And as they were approaching, I thought I was going to be able to hold on. You see him right there in the Kaboom kit. And so I'm thinking like, hey, I can hold on to this group. No big deal. They'll kind of mentally keep me paced all the way up to the front. I'm in 21st place right now out of 31 riders. But as you can see, little by little, they start pulling away. And at this point, I thought I was done with the race. Like, I was mentally in and out of bad places, knowing that, I still had a lot of climbing left to do as we hit this, 5-6%, and then hitting this harder red, 6+% portion. I kept pushing it on the steeper bits, getting into the mid to upper 200s. Because again, my goal was to do my best to stay around 300, but that was definitely not how things turned out. I still held strong in the mid 200s, kind of peeking into the 300s every now and then, which allowed me to kind of play the you know tag with people where I'd catch up to them, they would catch up to me, and we kind of keep going back and forth. And so I, again, at this point, was just looking to stay with the group. But as you can see, not only is the group split apart, but some of the stronger riders have already kind of pushed past into the horizon and beyond what I can see on the mini map. And so as this group starts to push on, I get some rest in that easier section. And as we hit this 8% section again, start pushing into the 300s and going a little bit harder. And at this point, I'm starting to make a shift that I didn't realize was happening at the moment. I'm looking at my heart rate right now and seeing that I'm in the 150s, kind of, upper 150s, low 160s, even with these harder efforts on the, 7-8% portions. And so I see the group, kind of pushing ahead. But as I start to get to this harder section, I think like, okay, let me, try and get into a good gear, push, try and do a nice steady push on this part of the climb, holding the upper 200s, low 300s. And as I start to pass this person, I notice that I am only about 25 seconds behind Kroll, and A. Kroll on the ATP team, whom I think is a fantastic climber, fantastic racer. I know he pushed super hard on the sprint segments, so I'd imagine that at this point he's probably worn himself out. And so I'm looking at that thinking like I might actually be able to close that gap. And I don't know if it was that as motivation or my hydration kicking in, because you see my heart rate right now is again in the low 150s, which for me is a pretty good recovered state. My average watts are still kind of hovering in the mid to low 200s. But as I get deeper into this climb, I start to get my second wind and just start pushing harder and harder, little by little, as the efforts go on. You see, I kind of keep bouncing between the mid 200s and the upper, mid 200s, and then hitting this 11% section, getting into the 300s. I wasn't trying to stay there long because I didn't want to, basically, kill myself before I get to the top. But I knew that as long as I could stay in these, right around my FTP range. So you see, I just passed A. Kroll, which again gave me a renewed energy, which at that time I was calling a big climb energy, because that's truly what it felt like. Felt like I got my second wind, like I could push harder, kept pushing into the 300s. And as I was approaching and catching people, I just kept my determination up in order to continue to pass them. And so taking a little bit of rest there on the flat part. And again, once I got into the 300s, started pushing back up. And I see EDZ or EBZ from Team ATP at my sights, but he's still 20 seconds out. So I don't know whether or not it's manageable at this point. I just know that I got one more person ahead of me that I can see in the distance. And if I just keep pushing, I can pass them. So as I approach the top of this climb, I start to push a little bit harder, get my RPMs higher, and do my best. I ended up shifting into my 53 tooth chain ring just so that way I can, push as hard as I can on this last few hundred meters. Now, when I cross the line, I don't actually know what my completion time is. And so I end up, crossing the line in 21st place. And considering how the stage went, I'm absolutely astonished.
And this is exactly where I started. 21st place. I don't know where that big climb energy came from, but I'm glad I took back a few spots. So, for the wrap up, 21st place. I don't know where that big climb energy came from at the end, but it was enough to help push my numbers up which, man, oh man, the sprinting is hurting. It's taking its toll.
You're weak.
So, gotta get the protein in me, get a massage, and get some good sleep. Because those are all absolutely important for recovery. Ooh, give my calf a little stretch here. All right. So, quick after action. Did pretty well on the sprints, 47 seconds on the leg snapper, which is mind-blowing for me. I didn't think I would do that good, considering my number one rival right now, who's in second place, did 45 seconds, so, or something like that. Or no, 39 seconds, sorry, 39 seconds. So I'm 8 seconds behind him, which there's no way I'm gonna get into the sub 40 second on the leg snapper right now. Not without cutting down some weight. And then the sprint, 19 seconds, where my top competitors did around 17, so 2 seconds or so slower, which again, I'm okay with, because this is starting to take its toll, and again, this is a game of attrition. And so as long as I can stay consistent with my numbers, then these, top 5, top 4, spots will kind of all stay with each other at this point. So, oh my God. So tomorrow's a non-FRR day, but it's still gonna be riding. It'll help kind of loosen everything up, and then Friday is gonna be a tough day. I think we're in France, if I remember correctly, doing 2 loops of the Douce Petite, I think something like that, or Petite de Lourdes, whatever the name of the stage is. It's gonna be fun. A couple times up the Petite KOM, I believe, and it's like, I think 600 meters of climbing. So, boy oh boy, what a race series to the top, I would say the top 5 in the points category for green jersey. You guys are not making it easy to get through these stages. So chapeau, and thanks for the tough competition. And so for those of you not riding tomorrow, enjoy your day off, stretch, protein, rest, and I will catch you guys on Friday. My legs. Guys, Miguel from that thing you just watched. If you know where that reference is from, please leave it down in the comments below. One of my favorite channels. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, watch videos, playlists, whichever pop up. But thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I hope to see you next time.